Hi, everyone. You're all very welcome to another trader interview here at the Alpha Capital Group. This morning, we have Gonçalo from obviously living in the UK. So today we'll be chatting to Gonçalo about the markets, about his trading. Obviously, one of our funded traders now. He'll be talking us through his few different payouts and kind of his process and how he's found us as well. And obviously kind of his journey. His journey is past, his present, and obviously future as well. So, Gonçalo, good morning. You're very, very welcome to today's call. How are you doing?
Morning. Very nice to be here. Finally getting this traders interview, and it's a pleasure.
Absolutely. And it's great for us to have you on as well. Gonçalo, I suppose without further ado, do you want to maybe talk me through a bit about yourself? Because I know you're obviously London based, I'm correct in saying. So do you want to maybe talk me through a bit about your life, bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Portuguese, as you might notice from my accent. I'm not native English. I've studied mechanical engineering in uni, so I've got a master's degree. Always university focused and going into the normal, joining a big company for a good job and so on. So I did what most parents like that a child does. I moved after I finished uni. I moved to Germany, where I worked in a very large company, which I'm not going to mention any names, but
Certainly.
yeah. Then been there 2 years in Germany, and then I had an offer to come to the UK, and I always wanted to live in the UK, mainly because I wanted really to improve on my English and get to know also the culture, because UK, it's one of the oldest countries in the world. So um, and yeah, I've been here for 7 years now. Really enjoy it. Obviously not the weather, because it's bloody May and it's 10 degrees outside and raining, but
For sure.
but
Absolutely.
yeah, but basically culture of the country. I love it. Really like the people. People are super friendly, super polite, and yeah. So
Brilliant.
that's a bit of my life so
Brilliant.
far.
Are you
Um,
living in London, Gonçalo?
no, near Manchester.
Okay. So you're
Yeah,
further
further north.
north. Okay,
Yeah,
brilliant. Okay.
further north.
Very friendly city indeed, for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I presume you're living there with your family at the minute, is that correct?
Yeah, so got a wife, two kids, and
Busy
yeah,
house. Between job and trading and family, it's a busy house, I'm sure.
yeah, super busy house. But it's all good fun, all part of life.
Brilliant.
I'm also very, let's say, I'm a sports junkie, so I do triathlon, and I'm always training. In fact, just after this call, I'm going for a training session. So
Wow. Okay. Right. Okay. So healthy body, healthy mind. Do you find that the training helps with your trading performance?
so much.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
Brilliant.
I think that's one of the essentials of trading, because you can be sitting down at your laptop, and obviously not all trades go as per your plan. And if you have a trade that goes wrong, and then you've got another trade that goes wrong, and normally what I do is just leave the laptop, don't look at it, go out for a run or a bike ride or something, just to clear the mind, just release some endorphins
Tension.
and
Yeah.
and come back already with a clear mind.
Okay.
That helps definitely. That's one of the strategies I use once I go on a bad trade. Let's say if I have one bad trade and another one, well, stop it, go out, go do something, and then come back with a clear mind.
It's a very good mechanism for you to not only handle your risk but handle your mindset. So if rather than kind of that do that kind of what so many other traders would do with the revenge trading, and then obviously two or three
Every
bad
time.
trades becomes 10, and then all of a sudden the account's blown. It's a very, very good mechanism for you to obviously handle your
And
psychology.
I did all of that. I did the revenge trading. I've blown accounts. I think this trading, it's not a get rich quick. People think it's a get rich quick, but that's completely wrong mindset.
Yeah,
And that's how I started trading, with a
yeah,
get rich quick. And then you get kind of addicted to it, and suddenly you're not trading anymore. You're just in the casino.
mm, Yeah, and I think that's the allure with a lot of people when they join. I think I was the same. 90% of people when they join, they think of how much money they can make, but they never think of how much money they can lose.
So much.
Which is incredible. And I suppose with your engineering background, do you find that I know with your sports that helps with the mindset and psychology and making sure that you're what we call as level-headed as much as possible. But do you find that your engineering background has contributed to your progress with trading? Because obviously engineering is quite technical.
Yeah.
Do you find that that's helped in any way?
I think so, definitely, because it requires a certain, let's say, gymnastics in your mind. And because I studied so much, and then throughout my jobs, it's quite a thinking. It's quite hard thinking what I do. So I think it gets my mind a bit sharper, and it's, I would say it's faster for me to readapt to the conditions of the market. Market is constantly changing, so
Yeah,
I think definitely helps.
It's back to the old adage: it's either adapt or die, isn't it? When it comes to the financial markets,
Yeah.
that's really, really good. So this is now your. Am I correct to say this morning fourth payout today from the markets?
Yeah. So I found out about Alpha February, I think,
of this year.
Of this year, yes, yes. Jumped into a 200K challenge, passed it obviously, and then I was fully funded on the 1st of March. No, that was my first payout, I think. 1st of March.
Okay. Yeah.
28th of Feb, because it's only on the 14th and the 28th.
Yeah.
So I think that was my first payout, and yeah, since then I've been getting the payouts. Obviously, I had a small. So then I got a second funded account, a second 200K.
Okay.
But at the same time, I made a mistake on the first funded, which was I put 90 lots in one of my trades, and I breached one of the rules, which is max lot size. So I lost the first funded, but well, I had the second funded anyway.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, well, it's a rule. I breached it. It's there.
Rules unfortunately are there for a reason. But again, it shows your progression, like, as well. The fact that you went from being zero capital to 400K in a number of weeks, never mind months or years, a number of weeks, and be able to take regular payouts in the markets. I think that's the most consistent thing.
This is also not my first funded account. So I've got another funded account with another prop firm, and I had also two others. But to me, Alpha, and I know this is an interview for Alpha, and I don't want people to think that I'm kind of biased.
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
Good to hear.
But yeah, I think main things that I really like about Alpha is the zero commission. The spreads are super tight. I only trade NASDAQ and Dow Jones, and the spreads, especially during New York session, they fluctuate between 1 to 1.5 points, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's the slippage. So on indices, you get loads of slippages on other brokers. I'm not going to mention any names, but again, on the previous prop firm that I was trading with, and most people will relate for sure, the slippage is absolutely horrible. And I lost 2 funded accounts on the back of slippages. One of them, it was so ridiculous that I had a 90-point slippage on Dow, which is absolutely
ridiculous.
Obviously, it blew my account because 90-point slippage is massive.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, particularly if you're going to, let's say, 20 or 40 lot position potentially. Like that's a 3, 4, 5 grand potential loss.
Exactly.
I suppose with anything, execution is really, really important. Because of course, every day there's obviously volatility, there's obviously news, there's obviously data. And I think it's important that as traders, they're able to navigate around that as best as possible. But look, don't get me wrong, even Alpha sometimes have slippage, but I think it's the mechanism of how you control that as well. It's all about having fair, orderly market conditions. And
what I learned with that, since I lost that account during to slippage, what I do is if I have any positions open during big news release like CPIs or NFPs or something like that, if I have my stop loss, if I have my position already at break even, and if it's quite far away from price, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
But if it's quite close, let's say 20 to 50 points, I'll close it myself, because, well, even with alpha, you never know.
You
There
never
might
know.
be a stupid release of a CPI that we've been seeing for the past few months,
Yeah.
that might melt the market like 500 points in just
Yeah.
a matter of seconds.
And
So
as well, also you have to, as traders as well, they also have to contend with market makers. So market makers are the guys behind the scenes, the likes of some of the big securities companies. I'm not going to name names as well, but a lot of those tend to move the markets very, very aggressively over short periods of time. And all that is just traps to take retail traders out of the market. So I think that's obviously relevant as well. So it's obviously very interesting. So you're talking about there your strategy. So you focus on NASDAQ and Dow Jones, I'm correct to say, yeah?
Yeah, correct.
So would you quantify, or would you classify yourself as day trader, swing trader? How do you actually kind of approach the markets on a day in, day out basis, Gonçalo?
So basically my routine is, and I've got all these written just because it helps a lot on the structure. So routine is, I will do my technical analysis on Sundays. So Saturdays is completely off. I don't even look at it.
Rest day.
Yeah, completely rest day. It's like training. You always have a rest day.
Yeah, exactly.
Sundays I do the analysis. I mark up my levels, what I call my POIs, my point of interest. Then I'll evaluate my bias. So where do I think the market is more likely to go? And I'll write all of this because I've got also I use a trading journal.
Okay.
Then every day in the morning during the weekdays, I'll start just before London, like 10 minutes before London. I don't trade the Asian session. Start 10 minutes before London. I'll see what the market is doing, and then I always give around 15 to 20 minutes after London Open and after New York Open, because these two openings they can be quite volatile, and the market can go up and down and spikes, and there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just follow the market throughout the day.
Okay.
I try to avoid London to New York handover, because again, it's a quite volatile area. Mm-hmm. So between like 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. GMT, obviously, and yeah, it's just then if a trade presents itself and if it's going according to my plan and my strategy, I'll enter it. I try to make it as more mechanic as possible, because emotions play a lot.
Yep.
In the trading. So
process is very important.
Exactly. So I try to focus in the process as much as possible and try to remove my emotions. But obviously, if I have, like, let's say, sometimes you have this bad feeling, like, this all complies with my rules, but this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, good instinct.
Exactly. Sometimes I also react to it, which made me, let's say, not lose money, but not making any money, or the opposite.
Opposite, yeah. So you're by the sounds, when kind of obviously listening to obviously your story here, it sounds like you're quite risk averse. So you don't like assuming too much risk. Like you're not the type of guy that's going to go out and have 30-40 grand payouts, but at the same time you're going to be the guy that's going to be consistently kind of taking in the markets, if I'm correct to say.
And the thing is, I've been trading for 4 years now, and I think I've gone through everything. Went from super aggressive scalper, which I've blown loads of accounts, because then you start into the revenge trading, and at this moment, this is where I find myself more comfortable with this sort of strategy. So I don't risk too much.
Okay.
I don't make loads and loads of money, but like you say, it's the consistency. And that's where I feel more comfortable.
So what would you just classify yourself then as a normal day trader? So you're not a scalper. Do you carry overnight positions then, Gonçalo, or you just you do carry overnight positions?
Yes, I do. So I'm between day trader and intra-week trader.
Okay.
I tend to close everything during weekends because, well, especially with at least this is my opinion. We had COVID for the past years. Then there's a vaccine and the market goes like hell, and then the vaccine doesn't work and the market comes down, and then there's a Ukraine-Russia war. So they're all the politics behind our society these days are so volatile that on a Saturday, Putin might say, "I'm going to bomb London now," and then suddenly the market comes crashing, and I lose my account.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's not the worst part of it, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I suppose like I think I completely agree with you there. I think the emphasis on having a flat book into a weekend isn't necessarily a bad idea. Like even me personally, I don't know about you, whether you trade Fridays, but I tend to actually have a flat book going into Friday, because I do find Fridays tends to be a little bit volatile day as well, which is obviously quite important. So you've been trading for 4 years. So quickly, how did you actually, like, what made you come into trading? Because obviously engineering is quite a different background or kettle of fish to that of like trading. How did you kind of migrate across?
So with my job, I do loads of investment forecasts.
Okay.
And well, engineering, it's quite analytical, quite number based, and I always love numbers. Then this all started with my cousin. So my cousin found out this probably on Instagram with some kind of influencer that posts Lamborghinis all the time.
Yep.
Then we started this as a joke because we liked it. And then COVID came, and I had a MetaTrader account and so on, like the normal stuff. And it was the day that, I don't know if you remember, oil completely crashed, went to negative.
Yep.
And I saw that and I'm like, I'm going to buy here. So I bought it, and then I held that position. And this was my first very good position. I held that position for like, I don't know, 8 weeks, because then oil just kept going up.
Yeah.
And I remember perfectly. This was I risked. I put 200 pounds. Yeah, it was pounds. 200 pounds in this trade, and I took out of it 20,000.
Again, market conditions, market volatility was your friend in that one.
I didn't even know about lot sizes. I was just super lucky.
Yeah,
super lucky. This was pure beginner's luck because I didn't know about anything.
Yeah.
What was my broker lot size or anything? I think I typed like 10 and hit the buy button.
Yeah.
And it was pure beginner's luck. And I'm like, wow, I'm an amazing trader now.
Yeah.
My first trade, I made this amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm an amazing trader.
And then you got bitten by the bug, and then that's it. The rest is history. So you've obviously kind of gone through the realms and back and forth.
Then I must have blown the 20 grand, obviously, between challenges and personal accounts and so on, with everything that I've blown so far.
Yeah.
I think I lost all of it again. But yeah, then I started actually studying about it. I started with baby pips, which I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Great for beginners.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Started with baby pips. Then I found loads of courses online, and I've watched so many courses so far. And then it was just, you've got the retail traders, you've got the smart money concepts, you've got so many different concepts and strategies. I think I've watched all of it, and I kind of morphed all of them in my mind and came up with my own concept.
Yeah, well, that's the concept according to Gonçalo. It's not a bad idea, but I do always find as well, like when you're trading, you have to be able to trust your own instincts. Like even as well, many years ago, I think the big thing going around was forex signal providers, and we all know none of them work. I think that's really important. Obviously, develop, learn, and look at where you are now. You've got now a life skill that you can apply, that you can take regular money out of the markets. And I think at the end of the day, you have to say, was the time, was the process worth it? But where you are now, I'm sure you'd agree, I'm sure is absolutely worth it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a very difficult process, and that's why I was saying in the beginning, this is not a get rich quick process. It takes a long time, takes a lot of study. You're going to blow loads of money because that happened with me. And it's a lot psychology based.
Yeah.
You can be very good technically, and you can understand very well where the market is going. But if you don't have a strong mentality and strong rules and strategy, it's going to be really difficult to succeed.
Certainly. And as well, you also, and you kind of alluded at the very beginning in terms of your triathlon, being able to handle the emotions. Is really, really important. And having kind of you've kind of gone through the whole lot. You've gone through journal, your trading plan. Obviously, it's a morphing of what price action, supply and demand, and smart money by the sounds of it, gauging from that's your strategy, and then being able to look at it in journal and then review your data. Being able to put a logic on things is important. I think some, like I myself would say, I'm quite mechanical in nature, mechanical process. I think that's really, really important. But also at the same time, being able to walk away, be able to handle your emotions, I think is very, very important as well, for sure. So I suppose going on from that, the emotional side, the risk management, and you're talking about the technical side, do you incorporate fundamental analysis? Because I know we've talked a bit about COVID and obviously Ukraine and Russia as an example. Do you incorporate fundamental analysis into your strategy? Do you, or is it just solely technical?
No. So there's this. I think this was one of the first lessons from Baby Pips. There's three main branches of trading. You've got the technical analysis, you've got the fundamental, and then you've got the psychology. And I incorporate these three within my strategy. And one thing that it's part of my routine on the Sunday routine is I go to Forex Factory. I'll go see which are the big news releases, and I make a note of all of them and at what time are they. Right. Also, I pay a lot of attention to earnings reports, which we had loads of reports last week and this week also.
Yeah.
And that takes into account, a lot of the volatility of the market.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely fundamentals. It's quite important. Knowing inflation, it's a big one. Interest rates, labor market, all of these big ones.
Yeah, and even the earnings, as you said this week, should, like take for example, Tuesday night, Microsoft and Google's earnings better than expected. Both stocks rose 4.5% within 30 minutes of the news release. So, like, for example, there, if you're short indices and the stocks rally, you're probably going to get caught out on slippage on some of those brokers and some of those exchanges. And I suppose that's really, really important.
Exactly.
And I suppose within your strategy, within your approach, I know you're quite risk averse, but do you scale in? Are you kind of like a trader who's like a one and done position, or do you take multiple positions if you feel like the trade or directional bias is more pronounced and more clear?
Exactly. It's more like the second option that you just said. If I feel that it's going that way, and if, for example, the market retraces and it goes to a nice order block and closes a gap and so on, I'll enter again. I'm not one of those that say I've got a running one that it's in profits, so I'm not going to touch it anymore. I'll reduce the risk, but if I see a good opportunity, I'll take it.
Right. Okay. Interesting. And that obviously allows for additional growth, because of course, if you're trading risk-free, there's a couple of positions risk-free and you're able to get a scale in or a pullback or something like that, obviously helps with performance growth as well. Brilliant. Okay.
Always take partials. It's something that I do.
Okay. I don't, really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't like having a trade running like 400 points on Dow and not taking a single partial, because
too greedy.
Move so fast that suddenly you're looking at the phone and you've got, very nice profit, and then suddenly indices can go in the other direction and you lost all of that.
So how do you then determine your profit-taking approach. So obviously trade management as trades are in play, it's obviously very, very important on how traders manage their positions and manage their risk, but also manage profits, not leaving profits or even kind of just taking profits from the markets regularly. How do you actually kind of break that? Like, do you take 50%? Do you take 33% of your position? Is there a set number? Is there a set thing you kind of look for?
It depends.
Okay.
I've got two ways. One is, let's say I enter long on NASDAQ, and I've got another level somewhere here where the market could possibly go short. So I would take partials here.
Okay.
But if this distance is too big, and if suddenly I've got, I don't know, $8,000 in equity, I don't feel comfortable just leaving all of that floating without taking any partials.
Okay.
So basically I do two things. One is at levels that I think that the market might reverse, or when I don't feel comfortable anymore, leaving profits rolling,
Of a higher
running.
nature.
Exactly, without me taking any partials.
Okay. Well, look, that's logical, because of course that factors into your discipline, your mindset, because of course psychology, exactly. Yeah. Because like, let's say for example, that 8 grand, if that goes up to 8 grand and all of a sudden the markets does an apex where it goes up and starts coming back down again, your 8 could be back at 2-3 grand, and you're thinking, I've just lost 5. It's not that I've won 3 grand. I've actually just lost 5 grand potentially on a trade, which is, it can often be more detrimental, because making money in markets, as you know, is obviously difficult enough as it is. That when those opportunities come along, you obviously want to be trying to take as much as you can when you can,
Exactly.
which is obviously quite important. So I suppose then, kind of going forward, Gonçalo, right? So you've had quite a journey over the last number of years, for sure.
Yeah.
What would you classify how am I going to say this? What do you think is the most enjoyable part of your trading in simple terms, or working as a trader? Is it lifestyle? Is it the monetary side of it?
I think it's a bit of all of those factors. So you can have just 5 minutes in front of the laptop and you make 2 or 3 grand and you're completely done for the day, and you don't even need to look at it anymore. You don't have a boss that says you need to trade today. You do whatever you want. And you can trade on the go. You can be, I was on holiday 3 weeks ago. I was trading, I made money, and I was on holiday. So I think it's all these factors. You can make really good money, and you've got the freedom, let's say. You can do whatever you want, and the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's you cannot pay for that. Like many people say, time is money. So if you can do whatever you want whilst
enjoying your life,
money.
yeah, absolutely. And I suppose through your journey over the last kind of 3-4 years, with your background, with your engineering experience, with your life experience, obviously with family as well, what would you define, or how would you define what a good trader needs to have in terms of personality?
That's a good question. I think first of all, resilience. So as I said, this is not a get rich quick. So you need to be resilient. You need to be able to take losses. You need to be able to be like, I'm terrible at trading, I'm going to give up. You need to be there and then pick yourself up and no, I'm going to make this work. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to study. I'm going to put hours in it, and so on. So I think that's one of the qualities that someone needs to have. And then you need to be quite strict with yourself. If there's a trade, so if you open your laptop and you're looking at the market, and if there's something that doesn't go according to your plan, and you think, oh, I know I'm going long here, but still doesn't go to your plan, you need to be strict and not go long in that trade because it doesn't go according to your plan. Because what's going to happen is, doesn't go according to your plan, you hit stop loss, then you're going to revenge trade, and you're going to stop loss again, and you revenge trade again, and then you blow your account. So I think there's these two factors that you need to be really strong, not give up, and then have a strict mind and just follow your rules and your plan.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more really on that. Like even myself, I see a lot of myself. My journey is quite similar to yours in terms of the process and the back and forth and so on and so forth. But I think the resiliency is obviously important, because if you're not resilient, this is obviously where streaks comes into trading, where 1 or 2 losses, if you haven't some sort of resilience, that means 5, 10, you could go on a streak of multiple considerable consecutive losses, which is obviously detrimental. I think the risk, the psychology, discipline, you're nailing all of that as well. I think I would agree wholeheartedly. Which is obviously quite interesting, of course, because trading, as you said, those three pillars. What were those 3 pillars again you mentioned?
Technical, fundamental, and psychology.
Definitely. Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more on that one. So I suppose going forward, right, considering where you have been, right, COVID, onset of COVID, markets open, markets closed, volatility in the markets, Russia-Ukraine war, your journey through all of this, and how far you've come, do you set goals? Do you set objectives of where you'd like to be in 6, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you kind of take it day by day, week by week, and kind of see how things develop? Because obviously some people don't do well when they put goals and objectives on themselves. They're like creating additional pressure, and they kind of struggle with that. How do you approach? Do you approach it that way, or would you set goals and objectives?
So to be honest, I don't have like a 5-year plan, because like you said, it kind of puts a lot of pressure, saying that I need to be making like 10 grand per month, and if I don't hit that, I'm going to set myself back according to my plan, and then that could make myself trade even more and take trades that don't go according to my plan. So I try to avoid that 5-year plan, but definitely I've got a way to spend the money. So for example, I receive a payout, a 10 grand payout, 25% of this payout. And this is set. Doesn't matter if it's 10 grand, 5 grand, or 500 pounds. Doesn't matter. Got 25% always goes into a savings account. Another 25% goes into an investment account that I've got.
Okay.
And then the remaining 50, I divided into spending 25% on stuff for myself, because I don't know if you are aware, but triathlon is a super expensive sport.
Yes, I've been told that. All right, I've had training gear and bikes and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I can spend so much money in triathlon, which it's ridiculous. And the other 25%, it's just, I don't know, house stuff, buying stuff to the kids, to the wife, and so on.
Day to
So
day.
I divide my payout into 4 chunks.
Okay.
And I try to be very strict with this, because again, it all interlinks with the trading. If I'm strict with my trading plan, I need to be strict also in the way that I spend the money.
Certainly. Yeah.
And yeah, so no long-term plan. Obviously, what I try to do with the savings is then invest into real estate. Okay. Which I think it's, at the moment, it's the safest investment you can have. But this is my personal opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
Because if anything goes wrong, at least there's a roof and there's a physical asset there.
There's equity of some sort.
Yeah, that you can actually. But even if the house market completely crashes, at least there's a roof that you've got there that you can live in, or your family can live, or friends, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's my, let's say, that's my biggest goal, is kind of obviously always have a bit of cash.
Yeah.
And some money that it's quite easily accessed, but it's real estate at the moment for me.
So I presume then, when it comes back to the prop trading, I suppose we'll finish on this. Goal will really be to obviously continue growing, continue scaling up with ACG, and probably with other firms as well, potentially, probably along with that, I'm sure.
Obviously, yeah. It's scale, obviously scaling on my funded account. I also have a personal account, which I take obviously 100% of the profits, but it's not as big as a funded account, obviously. But yeah, it's both of them. and yeah, I cannot wait to get this scaling done.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, look, it's like anything. It's a journey, isn't it? It's a journey. It's a process. It takes time. Absolutely, it does, doesn't it? To be able to firstly get your hands on the capital, then start getting comfortable trading, obviously bigger sizes and bigger amounts, and then obviously as that develop in time, and obviously you're working on your trading, then it's just kind of a process. Really, it's just a journey, kind of growing and building and developing, developing in terms of the account, but also in terms of your own character, your own nature as a human being as well. You know.
It's a bit of the snowball effect. One thing starts growing and the other one grows, and then suddenly it's a big, massive avalanche.
Yeah, in the right direction, that is. Absolutely. For sure. Well, look, Gonçalo, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a really, really great call. It's been a good chat about the markets. It's been a good chat about how you approach the markets, and obviously a bit about yourself as well. We'd absolutely love to have you on again. In down the line, 6-12 months down the line, I'd absolutely love to have you on. See how you're progressing and see how how your journey's developed, obviously with us, fingers crossed, touch wood, and obviously going from there. So Gonçalo, obviously best of luck with your new payout, obviously today, and best of luck for obviously for the rest of the year, not even just for next week, obviously for the best of the year, and obviously with yourself, with your trading, with your family as well. I know you're going to be a busy man over the next number of years, obviously with kids and stuff like that, but best of luck and everything.
Thanks a lot, Jared. Thank you. I just want to leave just one more, well, let's say message, because I deal a lot with Alexander from ACG and also Harry. And well, I just want to say that these two guys are absolutely, well, they are the best. Very good support from these two guys. They are the two guys that I deal the most from ACG side. So yeah, it's just a word of thank you to them for being always there and to support, because these two guys are really great.
Well, thank you, Gonçalo. Well, look, and as I said, if you ever need anything, you know exactly where we are. We're very much keen to see you obviously develop with us as well as we are with everyone else as traders. So it'll be interesting to see how the next kind of 6-12 months obviously goes. And as I said, love to have you back again for sure.
Yeah, will do. Thanks a lot, Jared.
Thank you, Gonçalo. Cheers. Have a great day. All right. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.